Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day, as always. And today, I'd like to talk about surrender. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's put it this way. Right now, depending on where you are on this spiritual path, okay, most likely you're fighting against the isness, okay, which means you're trying to maintain the you-ness that is. And that you-ness is based on a lie, something that doesn't exist, okay? Now, what that means is that you're trying to fight to keep you the way you are. That's what you're doing. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just the way it is. And because of that, it's really hard to let go of things. Because if you let go of things, then you're letting go of a little bit of you. And you don't want to do that because the ego, okay, doesn't want that. The ego wants to keep all of it that it can, okay? All of you that it can, so that it feels big, okay? And that includes everything that you own and everything that you think you are. All right? Now, so it's a fight. And the you that you think you are is fighting against letting go. Because it thinks, or you think, that you have to keep yourself intact. Now, we're not talking about your body here, we're just talking about your mind, okay? And this is what's blocking you from awakening. This is what's blocking you from making spiritual progress, okay? And what this means is that you're stuck. And you're stuck on you. All right? And I know it's really hard to try and let go of things, or to try and understand that you are not you. Okay? I know that's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. Okay? But that's just the way it is. I wish it were not that way, but it is that way. So, how do we get beyond this point of stuckness that we're at? Well, we have to really try and understand what is going on. And what's going on is that your ego, okay, which is basically in control of you, it's in control of your personality, it's in control of your mind, okay? You could say it's the operating system of your mind, okay, if you want to. It doesn't have to be any kind of a, quote-unquote demon. Anyway, so you have to get beyond that, okay? You have to get beyond the point of thinking of yourself as you, as a discrete individual who is completely unconnected to anything, okay? Which is what we think we are. Well, we're connected to our relatives and our tribe and everything like that, and we've got political affiliations, and we love sports teams, and we think we're connected to that. But as far as the natural world goes and things that are alive, we're basically not connected, okay? We think we're separate, and that's the illusion of separateness. And that we have to dispel that illusion by realizing and recognizing who you really are, which is consciousness, a soul, however you want to put it. Okay? So, how do we do this? Well, for starters, you need to just give up the fight. I know that's hard to do, okay? But this you that I'm sure you think is marvelous, and I'm not saying it's not, okay? isn't who you are. Okay? It's a fake identity. It's not real. Okay? We can say there's a personality. We can say there's a lot of things. Okay? But that doesn't mean they're real. Okay? It's just an illusion. Okay? And the way to break out of these illusions is to accept that that is what it is. If we fight against the idea that we are stuck in the illusion of permanence, or stuck in the illusion of time, or stuck in the illusion of separateness, which we are, and we say, no, I'm not stuck in any of that, that's all bullshit. Which is fine. I'm not saying that that's not something you should do. By all means, do that. Okay? But it's not going to get us anywhere. What we want to get is free, right? So, we have to surrender ourselves, okay? I know that's a hard thing to do, okay? To the isness. And the isness is who you really are, okay? You're not John Smith, who works in a dairy or law office or furniture store or wherever, okay? You are a conscious being, okay, with a soul from God, if you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, then you're just a conscious being, okay? And that consciousness wants to be raised, okay? Because the universe wants more consciousness, and the way it gets more consciousness is through us, okay? That's how it is. Now, what this means is that we have to try and accept that you're not you. And we do that by recognizing who you are. By recognizing that you are an immortal soul. You cannot be hurt or killed or anything else. And this emotional, thoughtful person that you think you are just doesn't exist. You have been tricked into believing that that is who you are. But that is not who you are. Okay? I mean, if we want to try and talk about identity, which is important, okay? Who are you down deep? Who are you in the core of your being? That is what's important. Who are you on the surface doesn't matter. Okay? That's changeable. It changes all the time because time changes everything. The world is impermanent. Okay? And as long as you're fighting against the isness, okay, of who and what you are, okay, you're not going to be free. Okay? And that is what we're doing. Okay? We're fighting to keep ourselves together. We're fighting to make sure that we are us. Okay? That we are this discrete individual, which we're not that. But we fight in order to be that. That's what we're doing. Okay? And that is not great. Okay? So, try and understand. This person with a personality isn't who you really are. Okay? Who you really are is a soul. That is who you are to your depths. I know that's hard to realize that, but that is what you have to do. And as long as you think you're you, you're going to fight for you. You know? And that means anything that doesn't go along with your you-ness, you just discard it. Thousands of people have spiritual experience all the time, okay? Or at least 87% of people have had experiences of the spiritual nature, but they discard the experience. They say, it wasn't me. It wasn't, I was crazy, or whatever it was. Or I saw an alien, or whatever it is. To basically discount what happened. So that is the situation, and that's why you're fighting. You're fighting to maintain your you-ness. And that's not going to work out for you, because it's going to cause suffering. Because the you that you're trying to maintain, or the you that you're trying to keep, doesn't exist. We think it exists, but it's just a bunch of ideas in our head. Okay? Our brain, our mind. That's what it is. And as long as we think it is more than that, then it's like the Bible, okay? The Bible is a story, okay, written by man and supposedly inspired by God. Now, some people say it is the Word of God, so on and so forth. But it's just a story, okay? It's a good story. It'll teach you a lot. There's lots of good things about it, but it's still only a story. And as long as you think it's not a story, as long as you think it is the Word of God, or a historical thing of what happened, which it's not, there is absolutely no historical records that anything in the Bible actually happened, okay? Including Jesus Christ. You think somebody that world-changing would have been written about, but then not one word was written about it. Why do you think that is? Because it's a story, okay? And if we make it more than that, if we make it into fact, which is what we do, okay, then we're going to have suffering. Okay, now I know a lot of religious people might be saying, you're going to hell, and all that. And I'm not saying that's not going to be the case. Okay, yeah, maybe I am. I don't believe in hell, so I don't think that will, but happen. But anyway, the point is, if you are caught in the story of you, okay, then you can't let go of these things that are bothering you. Like emotional reactions you've had in the past over things that have happened that keep happening. More emotional reactions get piled on top of it, or whatever it is. Bad memories that keep coming back. That stuff is not good for you, and it causes more suffering, which means you need to let it go. You need to let it all go. Okay, we think these memories are so important, and we think we're so clever and so wonderful, and that's why we're continuing to fight to keep ourselves in that position, in that situation. Okay? That's what it is. All right? And especially if you've had achievements and so on and so forth, okay, then that backs up all that idea, which is a false idea, okay? So, what you have to do is accept that that is not you. You believe it's you because you've been told that your whole life. And really, it isn't even that you've been told it. You've been programmed to believe it and conditioned to believe it. Okay? And that's why you believe it, because that's the way it is. But it's not true. Okay? And as long as we are fighting against the truth, okay, which we are, then we're going to suffer. So, what do we have to do? We have to let it go. We have to let this personality go. This much loved person, okay? If you didn't think I loved myself, believe me, I love myself. I thought I was so talented and so wonderful, and and I was talented and wonderful and all that stuff, okay? And that became a part of me because I had won singing awards and because I had, written songs and played guitar for people that just loved it and so on and so forth, and all variety of stuff, which I'm sure some of you have gone through too, okay? And I wanted to be what I was, the good thing of me, the good part of me, the part that can make people smile. That's what I wanted to maintain. That's what I wanted to keep. And these memories, we want to keep them. And sometimes we have to keep them. We don't want them, but that's just the way it is. And your intellect, which is so good and smart and so on and so forth, which you pride yourself on that intellect. And so that's another attachment to you. And all these attachments are part of the illusion of you. So, what we have to do is try and understand the basic truth of who we are. Are you depressed? Are you unhappy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you dissatisfied with life? I know you are, okay? Because that is the human condition. And you turn to drugs. You turn to, not you personally, but that's what we do. We turn to these things that we think can make ourselves feel better, which they do temporarily, like gambling and sex and drugs, rock and roll, so on and so forth. In the end, that temporary feel-goodness is going to fade, and then we're going to be left with our horrible lives. Okay? And that's just the way it is. I don't want it to be that way. I don't want you to have a horrible life, but that is what you have. If, in fact, that's the case. Okay? If you're constantly plagued by thoughts you don't want to be having, sexual, perverted thoughts, or thoughts about other people, like, oh, that's so-and-so, and this and that and the other, then you are in the grip of the ego. And the ego, which we can call the processor of the brain, or the operating system of the brain, all right, it does not care about you. Okay? I know it's hard to think of something that's not a person not caring, but that's what it is. Okay? It cares about feeling good, getting better, getting bigger. Okay? And all these things just combine to make you the way you feel and the way you are. And the way to get that freedom is to let go, is to give up, surrender yourself. In the end, death will take you. That is for sure. Okay? And you'll have to surrender yourself anyway. Because the self that you think you are is what is going to die. Not the soul, not the consciousness. Okay? Just the self that you think you are. So, you can either surrender that self now by accepting that you are not the self, you are the soul. Or if you don't believe in God, then you're consciousness, awareness. Okay? Which is bigger than you. Okay? Way bigger. Like I said, the consciousness is like the sky, and the thoughts and emotions are like clouds which keep the sun or God from getting to you. I love the sun. The sun is so great, isn't it? But when the clouds come, there's nothing I can do about that. I have to go without sunlight. Okay? So, these clouds can be stopped. Okay? These clouds can be not happening. But as long as you are believing in yourself, which we do. I believe in myself. That's one of the things we're kind of taught how to do. Believe in yourself. You can do all sorts of things. You can do whatever you think is right. So on and so forth. Well, that's bad. What you have to believe in, if you're going to believe in anything, really this isn't about belief. It's about accepting what is. And what is that you are not a self. You are not a ego. You're not a mind or body. You are a soul. You are awareness. You are consciousness. That is who you are. And as long as we think we're not that, then we're going to have suffering. That's the way it is. I don't want it to be that way. But I don't have control over what is. Which would make me God if I did, which I don't. Okay? So, you can wait and continue living as you are now until death comes, and then you will have to surrender yourself to death. Or you can do it now. You can give up now and be who you really are, which is a soul, an immortal, untouchable soul. A soul can't be raped, a soul can't be hurt, a soul can't be killed. Okay? So therefore, that is what you are. And if you continue thinking that you're this you, which consists of the memories of birth to wherever you're at, okay? And this thing that's controlling your life, the ego we call it, or the program that makes you think all the bad things about yourself, has to go. And as long as we think it is good to have anything we do have, okay, like money and cars and vehicles and all that, it doesn't matter, because that's all going to go. Everything that can go is going to go, okay? No matter how great you think your car is, it's going to break down, and then it's going to need a transmission, which is $7,000, and then you're without a car, okay? Which is why you need to let the possessions go. Don't make them a part of you. They have been a part of you ever since you were a little baby, okay? Your first rattle, you held on to that thing because it was yours, okay? And then you got a dolly or a truck maybe, or a Hot Wheels car and a Hot Wheels track, and so on and so forth. Over time, more of these things, and you let go of the dolly, and you let go of the truck, the toy truck, and moved on to bigger and better things. And now you have a real truck or a real car, okay? And you think that's a part of who you are. And when that car is gone, which is going to be gone because everything that exists is going. The world is impermanent. Everything is going to go. Okay? And that means we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen because no one can know the future. But it's quite possible that civilization will go. Okay? Many people say that we're tottering on the edge of an abyss right now because of the way the banking systems have been using this world. Okay? I mean, I would like to think that things will be the way they are because I like them, but that's not the way it's going to be. It's going to be the way it is. And that isness is something we really don't seem to want because we're fighting against it constantly. And that makes it very hard to see the truth. Okay? Just like, you know, the political parties, the truth is not something they deal in. Okay? So, the way to do this, the way to release yourself from the captivity of your mind, is to accept what is. That's it. I know that seems like a simple thing, okay? And maybe it is. It's simple, yes. Okay? But it's very hard. And it's hard because we make it hard, because we're trying to hold on to the you. And by holding on to it, we're keeping the rest of the universe at arm's length. And that includes the plants and the animals and everything that's alive. We're saying that's not part of me. Me ends at the skin, and everything else outside of that isn't me. That's what we're saying. And we've been saying that for centuries. Okay? So, that's not what's true. That's not what is. What is that everything is a part of you. Everything in the universe that lives is a part of you because you are in the consciousness collective of God. And everything that lives is also in that consciousness collective. We think, oh, trees don't have consciousness, or rabbits or dogs or whatever. They have a small amount of consciousness. But the consciousness is still there. And the whole consciousness of the world, okay, is pretty immense. And you can be that instead of this little human being who thinks it's separate, which we do. So just try and give up. Just try and give up. Stop fighting against your own isness. Your own isness is that you are a soul. You have a limitless love inside of you that God is giving you every single day, only you don't know it because you can't feel it because you've got all these clouds in your sky. Okay? The emotions, the thoughts, that are constantly running through your head, those are your clouds, and they're blocking out God. Maybe you think God doesn't exist. Okay, they're blocking your higher consciousness. Okay? And once you have accepted what is, once you have accepted it to your very being, okay, then you'll see that all this stuff is clinging to you, and you're clinging to it too. And you'll let go. And you'll feel the freedom. There's no such thing as freedom in this world today because the governments and the corporations are in charge of everything, and there is no freedom outside of your skull. But there is freedom to be had inside your skull, and that is the freedom of being a soul, being a consciousness, not being labeled, okay, and, ID'd, and whatever else that happens to you as you make your way in this world. And that is the way it is, okay? These labels and ID that pin you into being you, into being this separate individual. And you can be that by all means. You can be that for the rest of your life. But that's going to entail suffering because you are on the wheel of karma. And the wheel of karma is what it is. Okay? I don't believe in reincarnation, and karma is really about that. But the way I look at karma is what you need to do on this earth. Okay? And what you need to do is your karma. But you can break free of that karma. You can break free of this prison that is within your own mind. by simply accepting who and what you are. And believe me, being a soul is way better than being just a human. Okay? I know that's hard, easy for me to say, hard for you to know, but it is. Okay? Happiness. Just pure happiness, joy. All the time. Okay? That's better than constant horrible thoughts in your head and emotions that cripple you and so on and so forth. And if you let yourself continue to be that, then you are going to become even more crippled as time goes on, because that's what life does to you. Well, clock on the wall said it's about time for this video to end. I love you all because you're me, you're part of me. That's just like you're part of this web of life that is you. And as you are part of that, you know that that's you, so therefore you love it, because you love you, right? And that's why I can say that I love you. Even though I don't know you, I love everyone on earth, because I know that they are souls that God created, and that together everyone is part of God. Please, if you have any questions about anything I say in these videos, please comment and give me a question. I'd be happy to answer it. And if you just have comments about the videos, I love to hear those. But if you don't want to, then that's okay too. Anyway, I love you all. Have a great day and a great life.